Hey everyone, all right, we got a basic bathroom here. This should be a pretty easy and quick shoot. So the first thing that you need to work on when you get in the bathroom is trying to find a place and hopefully an angle to actually take a photo. Bathrooms are typically smaller, and this one is, I would say, on the small side. Things to do whenever you get to a bathroom is first make sure that the toilet lid is shut. Nobody wants a picture with the toilet seat open. That is a newbie mistake. Make sure they are closed. And I always have the homeowners, I prep them ahead of time. And I say, while I'm on the outside, I'll say, hey, on the inside, if you could either turn the lights all on, if that's your preference, or all off. Make sure you can see out of the blinds. And also on all the toilets, go ahead and shut the lid. I'd rather them shut that than me. So next thing you want to look at whenever you get into the bathroom is making sure it's kind of clean. This is one area where some people kind of get a little sloppy on us, leave all their bathroom products out. Again, hopefully have the homeowner prepped on that one, or the realtor, whoever you're working with. But if it is in the way, you'll want to go ahead and move that as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my composition ready. As you probably already figured out by now, the first thing I like to do is work on the camera height. So once we have that locked into place, I'm going to go ahead and get my composition using the geared head and dial it in. So what I want to do is make sure I get the vanity, as much of the bathroom as I can, a little bit of the tub. Can't get the whole tub in this shot. You want to make sure and get the camera height high enough to where you're above the vanity. So remember, we're trying to sell this home and everything about it. The prospective buyers will want to see what the top of the vanity looks like. They'll want to see as much detail. They'll also want to make sure you see the floor. They also want to know what kind of floor it is. So with that height, you want to kind of balance it out. They really don't care that much about the ceiling unless it's really sexy, when this one is not. It's just white. So keep all that in mind whenever you're getting your composition nailed down. And then of course you want to find somewhere to focus on. Easy in this because there's a lot going on. I always like to focus on the window because there's a lot of contrast there for the focus to lock on. So from here we're going to get our settings. As usual, I'm at 320 ISO, f-stop's at 7.1. We know the shutter speed's going to be all over the place. Now let's take a look at what I have to bounce with. Well, I can bounce a flash. We have a white door here. We have a ceiling that is white. The paint color is kind of a light gray, no problem there. Lights, you could turn them on, off. I'll leave that up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my flash. Now for this, you usually see me with a gun, but for bathrooms, I like to use this little flash on a stand because I can get the flash away from me a little bit more. It really helps whenever you're dealing with mirrors, which we're really not in this picture, but don't need much of a flash. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on and pick a power setting because everything's in manual. I'm going to go with, let's say, a 1/16 of a second. All right, so for shutter speed, no clue what that'll be. My camera's telling me that a 1/30 of a second should be fine. Don't believe it for a second. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and crank down a little bit more to a 1/60 of a second. And the reason I'm darkening up the exposure with the shutter speed, so I can tame these lights and so I can tame that window. Bathrooms, since they're really small, you're able to pretty much get get your window pull and everything with one shot and one small little flash. Very easy to do. It's not like a room that goes on forever and you're trying to light the other side of the room. So this should be really easy. Now, where am I going to put the flash? I could put it over here to the right, which would be fine because that's where your light source is coming from. We're going to do that first and see what kind of shadows are created, and if there are some, we'll move the flash again and take another one, and if we have to, we'll blend the shots. So for this first one, I'm at a 60th of a second, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my little remote here, and I'm going to move the flash towards the existing lights and hold it up some, because that's where the light source is coming from anyway, and go ahead and take that photo. All right, taking a look at that, I like everything, but there are shadows right below the mirror and below the lights. I kind of expected there would be that. So let me show you what would happen if you moved the light over to the left. Go ahead and get that shot. Take a look at this one. Let's see, we got the shadows for the mirror tamed and the lights. I'm going to do one last one. I'm going to drop the flash down a little bit lower. I'm going to explain why when you see the photo. By dropping the flash down a little bit more, you could see that there is less of a shadow underneath the mirror. So just by lowering this a little bit, I was able to alleviate that shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go into Photoshop and quickly put these pictures together. All right, I have the 3 photos opened up in Adobe Raw. Let's take a look at each one of them. So we've got photo number 1. Some things I'm noticing again about this now that I'm sitting down looking at it. Again, is the shadow down beneath the mirror. We've got shadows down beneath the lights. We've got them by the toilet here and some underneath there. I'm not that concerned with underneath the toilet roll. But there's a shadow over here to note as well. So by holding the light up here and to the right, it did good for most of the photo, but I mean there are some issues with the shadows. Let's take a look at number 2. Okay, number 2 is when we moved the flash over to the left and up. As you can see, we still have shadows here. We don't have as bad of shadows around the toilet area. And notice that we lost our shadow over here. We did get some of the flash into the window, of course, because we had the flash pretty much right in front of this window. Go back to 1, you'll see that the window looks good. Now let's look at the last picture where we lowered the flash. As you can see by this one, it got rid of the bottom area shadow. Let's see, looks good underneath the toilet paper dispenser there and all around the toilet. A little bit of a flash glare here, and now we've moved a shadow up above this bar. These are the things I'm looking for in the photos. So I like the first one for most of the photo. I'm going to blend in aspects of the second and third photo. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select Command A or Control A on a PC. To get all the photos over here, I'm going to apply my presets. If you wonder what my presets are, that means you didn't watch the previous episodes. So make sure to check those out to find out what goes in these Tony's presets here. And I'm going to go ahead and open the images in Photoshop. All right, I have the photos opened up in Photoshop. I'm on photo number 1. Here's 2, and here's 3. And yes, my black lab is right behind me, so if you hear breathing and licking, it isn't me. Well, I am breathing. All right, so we're going to start with picture number 1, and I'm going to hit Command A to select the whole image, Command C to copy it, go to picture number 2, Command V to go ahead and paste it. Now they're in layers. I'm going to go ahead and toggle the switch here so we can see the difference between both. So what aspect of the second photo do I want to bring in? Well, here's number 1, number 2. All right, first thing I'm looking for is right over here where this bar is. See that shadow? On the bottom image, it's gone. And let's see, I'm keep toggling back and forth. I know that third picture gets rid of these shadows. And let's see, toggle back and forth on this one. I'm just going to wait to the third photo to mess with this shadow. So what I'm going to do is create a mask. I'm going to grab the brush. Since I have a white mask, painting with black. So black is selected here. Opacity is at 100. I like to knock that down a little bit. 67 sounds like a good number. I'm going to make the brush bigger. I'm just going to paint right where that shadow is and get rid of it. So before I go on to the next photo, Let me mess around here just a little more and see if there's anything else I want to blend in. Nope. All right, so we'll go ahead and right click, flatten that image, Command A, Command C, and go to the next picture, Command V. Paste it. All right, make a mask. Look at the differences between these two. Picture 1, picture 2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get these shadows out. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of gently go over that area. Boom. Looking good right there. Now I'm looking at the mirror. So beneath it. And it's a little bright right here. And as you can see, when I go to the next picture, it's not as bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually lower the opacity on the brush. Bring this in. Get rid of most of this. I'm not worried about getting rid of 100%. Just trying to lessen some of it. Okay, toggle. Okay. And I will do some subtle clicks. I'm going to lower the opacity to like 17%. Just to darken that up just a little bit. I know I'm bringing back a little bit of shadow there, but I'm okay with that. All right, so that takes care of that part. Let's see what else we need to bring and fix the toilet. So let me up this a little bit to 50%. Come down here. Is darkening it up just a tad, but we blend it in just a little bit. Get everything there. All right, so that doesn't look so bad. I'm looking at this little area here. It's bugging me just a little bit. Toggling back and forth. So here's the way it looks now, underneath, now, underneath. All right, I see one little area here that I could improve. Get rid of the shadows. And here's, all right, before, after, one more here. All right, so without just driving ourselves crazy going back and forth, and I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to right click, flatten that image. And last but not least, I would like to open this up one more time in Adobe Raw, and then we're done. Okay, now I have the image opened up in Adobe Raw for a few quick adjustments. One, I'm going to check my white balance. So I am going to get my white balance tool, which is already selected here. And I'm going to pick something white like this trim, click on it. And I had a little bit of an adjustment that it made, and I think I'm okay with it. I'm going to actually lower the tint. It says +5. Let's give it +3. And then this area here, I want to brush in a little bit more exposure. Let's say +0.25. So let's brighten that up just a tad over here. And turn that up. I'm going to add actually one more new brush there. And I am bleeding that all over the place a little too far, so I got the erase, come through here, and erase where I went too far. Good. All right, so that part is done, and the next thing I want to look at is I'm going to go to transform and make sure that my verticals are vertical. It looks pretty good to me. I like to toggle between either the auto or the vertical, see which one makes the biggest adjustment, if any. Here's auto. It did nothing but make it wider. So I'm going to take that off, go to vertical. It made a slight adjustment. I'm going to assume the computer program knows more than I do about what's vertical. So I'm going to keep it just like that and turn that one into the Realtor. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching that video. Hopefully it helped you a little bit. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you feel like you've learned at least $1 worth of information from this, check out our Patreon page. And for all you new people out there, there's a lot of perks on the Patreon page for you to check out. See you in the next video.